Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another amazing episode of the best Bonanza you've ever seen. Hang on, sorry, guys. That's better. That's better. Why don't I just start with water? I'm so silly. Welcome, everybody, to another. Let me try that again. Welcome, everybody, to another Bhagavad Gita Bonanza. Yes, that's right. Today we're starting with chapter 3. Last time I broke down chapters 1 and 2. So I'm really excited for today. I'm just excited for this whole series. So we're going to get right into it. No quotes or nothing. Or, all that fun stuff. So basically, we left off last week with Arjuna having all these questions about, all these relations and all these people he has to fight. And Krishna was letting him know. Here we go. Yeah, when we do the recap, we should totally do this. Here we go. This is the recap picture. Aha! Now you shall see the mighty Krishna with a chariot yoked with 7 white horses, or those are 5. I we'll see. I think it says it in there. Anyway, so there's Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna has some doubts about this war. It's like this major civil war that's going on. He's a warrior. That's his dharma. He's not afraid to die. He said, but if he kills everybody he knows, except for his real close family, who is trying to correct the dharma by removing the king who is not the rightful king. So what's going on here is Arjuna's having some doubts. He's like, I don't want to kill all these people, man. It's a bummer, even though they're not living according to the way they should be. So, without any further ado, we'll start right here. Chapter 3, Selfless Service. Here we go. We're starting off with Arjuna. O Krishna, you have said that knowledge is greater than action. Why, then, do you ask me to wage this terrible war? Your advice seems inconsistent. Give me one path to follow the supreme good. Krishna, at the beginning of time, I declare 2 paths for the pure of heart. Jnana Yoga, the contemplative path of spiritual wisdom, and Karma Yoga, the active path of selfless service. One who shirks action does not attain freedom. No one can gain perfection by abstaining from work. Indeed, there is no one who rests for even an instant. All creatures are driven by action to their own nature. Those who abstain from action while allowing the mind to dwell on sensual pleasure cannot be called sincere spiritual aspirants, but they excel who control their senses through the mind, using them for selfless service. All right, I'm just gonna, so this part right here, these 2 parts, one who shirks action does not attain freedom. Right here, indeed, there is no one who can rest for even an instant. All creatures are driven by action, by their own nature. So what he's telling you, what Mr. Krishna, Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna is that, there's this fallacy going around that you could just sit around all day and you could just meditate and you don't have to do anything and you're going to poof, go to the sky. And you know what? Some people believe that and maybe that's true. But I think what he's saying here is Arjuna, you can't listen. That's not your path. Maybe that's for some people. But your path, my friend, is one of action because you're going to perform action no matter what you do. Even if you sit home all day and do nothing, you're still performing action. That's what I talk about in my show a lot. You're still creating as a conscious creator. You're just creating a life where you sit home and, do nothing all day. So I think I could be wrong, but that's what he's trying to tell him. It's like, listen, there's no way out of this. You can't just sit around, shirk your duty. What are you, a duty shirker? You dirty duty shirker. Get over here. That sounds like it should be offensive. Fulfill your own. Here, I'm going to start here from 8. Fulfill all your duties. Action is better than inaction. Even to maintain your body, Arjuna, you're obliged to act. Selfless action imprisons the world. Or I'm sorry, selfish. Very important distinction. Selfish action imprisons the world. Act selflessly without any thought of personal profit. This line I love. Selfish action imprisons the world. Now we talk a lot about on this show about the world being perfect, right? There we go. There we go. Get my thing started. So it's not a judgment. There is a way, I think, to look at the world as perfect, and you look at it as a sort of resistance, right? It's just a resistance that's out there, and then you have to see if you're a victim or not. That's basically what we're doing, in a nutshell, I guess. And so, in that way, you can realize that selfish action is the key. So, if you're acting in a selfish manner, and that's the difference between selfless and selfish, and self-love and selfishness, selfishness and self-love. They're different. They're two different things. When you're showing self-love, you're putting yourself first in a different kind of way. We'll get into it. The words escape me. Let's go back to the Gita. Back to the Gita. All right. Yeah, I think you guys get the. All right. Act selflessly without any thought of personal profit. That's really the difference. The selfish people act with thought of personal profit. Selfless act, what's going to work out best kind of for everybody and also for yourself, because that's a big fallacy we're going to get into on this episode, I think, with the Bhagavad Gita, because you don't want to be a doormat either, right? At the beginning, mankind and the obligation of selfless service were created together. Through selfless service, you will always be fruitful and find the fulfillment of your desires. This is the promise of the Creator. This part is huge. Huge. Think about it. Mankind, women and men were created together with the obligation of selfless service. What can that say? It could say that that's how we were originally, that's our original state, right? Is selfless service. We were kind of working together in this golden age. And I'm not saying that that's how it was, but maybe that's how it was meant to be. That's how we were created. Something happened, some kind of catastrophe. I don't know. Somebody went crazy. Somebody left too many babies unattended for too long, and people just had this trauma. And now, everybody wants to act selfishly, not selflessly. So he said, just always act selfless. Through selfless service, you will always be fruitful and find fulfillment of your desires. So just selfless action is what he's telling you. This is a promise of the Creator. This is what God said. Just act selflessly and you'll be fine. Honor and cherish the devas as they honor and cherish you. Through this honor and love, you will attain the supreme good. All human desires are fulfilled by the devas who are pleased by selfless service, but anyone who enjoys the things given by the devas without offering selfless acts in return is a thief. And you can look at the devas as kind of like demigods in a way. There's a lot of different ways to look at it. I'm trying to approach this Bhagavad Gita in a lighthearted, like a Western approach. So I'm not really going to get into breaking down all these things. If you want to look into them and you feel compelled to look into it, it's really magical. But for these purposes, we'll just say they're, you're getting these gifts, you could say, from God or from your higher self or from the spaghetti monster, or whatever you believe in. And if you're not returning these things, if you just enjoy them, then you're a thief. So it doesn't mean you have to give away everything you get, but all it means is, where's your mind? Where are your actions? Are they headed toward just the betterment of yourself or of everybody? And I think this is an important distinction to make. I don't mean that you should be going out donating. I mean, listen, I don't think this is exactly saying that. If that's what you feel compelled to do, have at it. We're not telling you what to do here at the Brand Bonanza Show. We're just saying what we think it says here in the Bhagavad Gita, which is that through selfless service and acting in that manner. So just you can look at it as acting in accordance with the golden rule. Do unto others or do not do unto others as you don't want done to yourself. And when you just don't be stingy, don't be a Grinch. That's all. It's a balance. There's dark and light. You don't have to give it all away, I don't think is what he's saying. Maybe in the beginning to get the balance going, if you've been a miser, you've been a, you can't say the word. You've been very cheaply. All right. Uh, the spiritually minded who eat in the spirit of service are freed from all their sins, but the selfish who prepare food for their own satisfaction eat sin. Living creatures are nourished by food, and food is nourished by rain. Rain itself is the water of life, which comes from selfless worship and service. Let me read that again. The rain comes from selfless worship and service. And by selfless worship, I don't think he means getting on your knees and worshiping Krishna specifically, maybe through meditation. But I think what he's talking about is just kind of, don't be a jerk, man. Just don't be a jerk. That's what they're saying. Don't be a jerk. It's real easy, Think about others first before you do something and how it's going to affect everybody. That's all. I'm talking to you, Brandon. See, I'm talking to myself. Every selfless act, Arjuna, is born from Brandon. Sorry, let me read that again. Every selfless act, Arjuna, is born from Brahman, the eternal, infinite Godhead. Brahman is present in every act of service. All life turns on this law, O Arjuna. Those who violate it, indulging the senses for their own pleasure and ignoring the needs of others, have wasted their life. But those who realize the self are always satisfied. Having found the source of joy and fulfillment, they no longer seek happiness from the external world. They have nothing to gain or lose by any action. Neither people nor things can affect their security. Now, I loved it because it's kind of hitting on something we talked about last week. I can't find my mouse. Sorry, everybody. There it is. Which is people nor things can affect their security. Stop share. There we go. See, I still have great security, even though I couldn't get my mouse over the button. It was moving out of my way to stop sharing. So we the what was I talking about? Back to the Gita. Oh yeah. So the centering. It's what they were talking about this in, I believe it was chapter 1 or 2. We talked about it last week, last episode. Go check it out. But it's about being the same in pleasure and pain. And it's about not being too attracted to the things which you're attached to or being too repelled by your aversions. You're just you try to maintain this inner balance, like under the sea, down below at Bikini Bottom, hanging out with SpongeBob and Patrick, and you're just chilling while there's a hurricane going on up at the top of the water, but underneath you have this nice flow. And this is how he's talking about cultivating it. Selfless service. So, he tells you what you got to do in the first couple chapters. Now he's starting to get into how to do it. He's explaining it. Excuse me. Strive constantly to serve the welfare of the world by devotion to selfless work. One attains the supreme goal of life. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Striving constantly to serve the welfare of the world by devotion to selfless work, one attains the supreme goal of life. Do your work with the welfare of others always in mind. It was by such work that Janka attained perfection. Others, too, have followed this path. That guy, Janka, man, he's more shout outs. I love how Krishna gives the shout outs. It's great. He's like, dude, you heard of Janka, right? This guy. He's like a platinum. So he's a platinum selfless server. He's been going like diamond, that guy. Everyone knows about him. What the outstanding person does, others will try to do. The standards such people create will be followed by the whole world. There is nothing in the three worlds for me to gain, Arjuna, nor is there anything I do not have. I continue to act, but I'm not driven by any need of my own. If I ever refrain from continuous work, everyone would immediately follow my example. If I stopped working, I would be the cause of cosmic chaos and finally the destruction of this world and these people. So, well, I thought he said he couldn't be destroyed, Krishna. Which one is it, buddy? Haha. Anyway, You're never gonna find out. Just kidding. I love no. Let's go back to this part. I love it because it says what the outstanding person does, others will try to do. The standards such people create will be followed by the whole world. Now, you want to change the world? Boom. This is how the Bhagavad Gita tells you could do it. The outstanding person does. Now, this isn't telling you should go out and try to save the world directly, in my opinion, by acts. That's one way, but it's more about by example, cultivating that self-love, being a balanced person. The people around you will be affected. They'll notice it. You'll be the outstanding person that they're talking about. And then other people might start to try to line their behavior toward you. And not everyone's gonna. Some people are gonna be like, this guy's crazy. I need to go engage in my escapism. I'll see you later. And they're gonna get out of your life, but it's probably for the better. As Louis C.K. said, no good marriage ever ended in divorce. If you're not meant to have people in your life, whoever they are, they're gonna remove themselves from your life. But the people who are supposed to be, you'll be this nice shining beacon of great human behavior. You'll be this example of human behavior. And people are going to be like, man, this guy, this gal, this person, they're always just smiling. No matter what happens, they always have something nice to say. What are they from Maine? What's going on? This guy. And they're going to start to be like, I want to be like that. I don't want to be such a bummer all the time. And then if they do want to be a bummer, they're going to go be a bummer somewhere else. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. Allegedly, it could. All right. As I continue, the ignorant. So now he's going to tell you about ignorant people. And again, it's no judgments. You just say, listen, if you're ignorant, it's fine. The ignorant work for their own profit, Arjuna. The wise work for the welfare of the world without thought for themselves. By abstaining from work, you will confuse the ignorant who are engrossed in their actions. Perform all work carefully, guided by compassion. All actions performed by the gunas of Prakriti, diluted by the identification with the ego. Sorry, I read that in the wrong. Let's try it again. And there's going to be some more funky words up here like gunas and Prakriti. But again, you don't really need to know this to understand the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. They're basically telling you to not be a jerk. And there's no one, listen, guys, there's nobody who could tell you. You can't listen to anybody's podcast and no one's going to tell you how to be a better person or show you the direct way. You know when you're being a jerk. You have that inner feeling about it. You just use that as a guide. It's like a compass, like I gave my beautiful wife. I gifted her a compass I had. Shout out to my amazing wife. She definitely helps make all this possible. She makes sure that I'm fed and I'm well thirsted. I mean, well, whatever the opposite of thirsty is, I'm well that. I'm well unthirsted. Thanks to my lovely wife. Okay, let's get back into it. Yeah, it's just when you're being a fucking jerk. No, what am I going to sit here and hold your hand and walk you through this, guys? Come on. All actions are performed by the gunas of Prakriti, diluted by identification with the ego. A person thinks, I am the doer. I am the doer. You think you are the doer. But the illuminated man or woman understands the domain of the gunas and is not attached. Such people know that the gunas interact with each other. They do not claim to be the doer. So basically, in a nutshell, let me just see if this pertains those who are deluded by the operation. Okay, so what he's really talking about is really the crux, the good nugget, the bit of truth in every religion that you could see really is here. And he's talking about that, right? He's talking about not identifying with your ego. I talked about it before. The ego is a tool I feel you can use. I don't think you should try to like destroy your ego and get rid of it. Maybe. But the ego is just that little person that's like me, but it tries to keep you safe. But I think what we go through in society, let's give a moment of silence so I can smoke. We'll give a moment of silence for the trauma. All the trauma we went through because somebody else was like, no, me, I'm more important. I need to do this thing. I don't care how it's going to affect that person. And we were the one affected. We got that trauma. Moment of silence. That's really what it is. And what he's talking about with the gunas is just the way that they look at it in Hinduism. These forces that interact with each other, they're just saying that things are happening to us. He's going to get into it more. But to think you're actually doing anything, and this gets into the whole determinism versus free will, and we could just sit here all night and debate about it. If I can do what I want, I can. I get it. And I'm not saying that there is no such thing as free will, but I think it's a little more nuanced. What if we were, in a way, running off a script? Have you ever had a feeling like you knew you shouldn't do something and you kind of just were like, and what for whatever reason you just did it, or you knew you were supposed to do something and you were just like, I can't, and you just didn't do it, and then you're like, why did I do that? I don't know it. But see, maybe the reason you did or didn't do that thing that you thought you should have done or not do was so you can experience that feeling of and then that point is the important point. That's the test. That's when you get to decide, am I gonna, be, am I gonna be a jerk? Or am I not gonna be a jerk? That's, or to yourself, really, because when you start to remember these things that you did and you overthink and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. I was such an idiot when I did that. These are things we say to ourselves, right? What's wrong with me? Why am I such an idiot? Why am I so stupid? We're like berating ourselves. If there was somebody outside of you who reminded of you of your mistakes as much as you overthink, if there's somebody outside talking to you like that, other people would be like, this person is an asshole. Just shut up, dude. Go easy on that guy. Like, I get it, but man, so you're treating yourself like a jerk. So I think maybe the test is to not treat ourselves like jerks, or maybe that's just where I'm at in my spiritual development. I'll admit that, but what I'm saying is, it's not a bad message. Maybe that's what we're here to do, and I think that's kind of what Arjuna is saying. Let's see, you're not the doer exactly all the time. You just got to be okay with what happens and feel that way. And I know it's a slippery slope. You can be like, yeah, I'm not the doer, and all of a sudden you're like caught with all these bodies in your walls. And you're like, yeah, but Brandon Bonanza said I'm not the doer. Like, all right, Charlie Manson Jr. That's not what I'm talking about. Because I feel like if you use your conscience and that inner feeling in yourself as a guide, you'll know, you'll know. All right. Remember, I'm not a professional, everybody. I am a comedian. So take my advice at your own peril. Those who are deluded by the operation of the gunas become attached to the results of their action. This is very Tao. He's been saying this a lot, repeating this. Why are you attached to the results of your actions? Don't be attached to the results of your actions. Just do what you got to do. It says it in the Tao, do your work and then step back kind of thing. Those who understand these truths should not unsettle the ignorant. I love this too. Guys, don't go woke raping people. I know that's a fucking weird term, but don't try to wake people up. Those who understand these truths should not unsettle the ignorant. Let them have their dream. They're out there booming along, the boomers or whatever. They're just having a grand old time. Let them have the party. They're gonna know when it's over. All right, they'll know. They'll look down and be like, "Oh no, I'm like a wile E. coyote running over the edge of the cliff, and I just didn't look down yet." And they look down and they're like, "Oops, it's cool though." Performing all actions for my sake, completely absorbed in the self and without expectations. Fight, but stay free from the fever of the ego. He calls it the fever of the ego. It's the fire. There's nothing wrong with the fire. Use the fire, but you don't want to burn your house down with the fire, right? Those who live. All right, I'm doing Krishna, so let me chill out. Krishna's got to be one of the chillest guys. I'm telling you. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Krishna and Jesus were hanging out? Krishna, Jesus, and Buddha walked into the bar, and it just froze solid because they were so chill. Everyone was just like, and they just froze. That's the humor you get here on the Brandon Bonanza Show. You're welcome, guys. You could donate. Their links are there. Even the wise act within limit. Wait, did I? Okay, sorry. Those who live in accordance, I'm back at 31. Those who live in accordance with these divine laws without complaining. Isn't that, look at Krishna. He's like, those who live in accordance with these divine laws without complaining, without complaining, without complaining, firmly established in faith. What does this mean? Firmly established in faith. You trust the plan. You know, things are going wrong, but they're not. They're going right. You just don't see it yet. You think they're going wrong because you're silly. Firmly established in faith are released from karma. These people, you're released from karma. Look at this secret they're dropping on you. Now, I don't, oh, I was pushing the wrong, oh no, what did I do? I was pushing the wrong button. I was pushing the wrong mouse button. I'm so silly. Let me just zoom in a little more. Here we go. Okay. Those who live in accordance with these divine laws without complaining, firmly established in faith, are released from karma. What does this mean? What could this mean possibly? Could this mean that if you're living in accordance with these divine laws, what he's talking about for, you know, you're not a jerk, you're thinking about other people, right? And then you're not trying to wake people up. Remember, that's important too. You're just like, okay, this guy wants to leaf blow every day. I get it, man. That dust is annoying. You got to leaf blow every day. It's cool, you know, but it's what he needs to do. I'm just talking to myself, everybody. You get it. Those who live in accordance without complaining, that's key, right? And then firmly established in faith, you trust the plan, you're released from karma. Pow, it's gone. Does that mean that you're creating your own karma? And I don't mean by like actions, but I mean by like your own thoughts. Could that be what he's saying? He's saying by like obviously your actions, right? But then the divine laws really are without complaining. And usually when you're just complaining to yourself, right? Because no one's really listening to when you're complaining. They're just thinking about what's wrong with their life. And they're like, yeah, it sucks. And firmly established in faith, that's something you do on your own in your head, right? Could it be? You're releasing yourself from karma without even. Isn't it amazing? The secrets you find in Bonanza. Listen, there's not new under the sun. I'm not claiming to be, you know, the first with this knowledge. I'm just the one who I just have the best voice and coolest hair and tallest. All those three things together with my amazing insights and humor. I'm telling you, those who violate these laws, criticizing and complaining, are utterly deluded. You're deluded if you're a jerk. You're deluded if you're complaining. You're deluded if you're not trusting the plan. He's basically saying, if you got, you know, if you're not out there living your best life, you're deluded. Now, I'm not saying that because I know it's tough, the pressures, right? The bills, the taxes, they don't stop. You got to eat, right? You got to figure it out somehow. You got to do something to do it, right? There's some kind of trade, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe you just sit home according to Neville Goddard and dream about it raining money. I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe it's something in between. I think maybe it's whatever you believe it is. It could be. That's what I believe. But I'm crazy comedian. You know, I'm not crazy. I'm not saying I'm crazy, guys. It's not an admission of insanity. It's a joke. So relax with your assumptions. All right, let's get back here. Yeah, so don't be deluded, right? They are the cause, deluded, and are the cause of their own suffering. Are you the cause of it? Hi, I'm gonna do a commercial. Hi guys, I'm gonna do a commercial. Hang on, let me go back. I know I keep going back and forth. I hope I'm not giving anybody a crazy headache with a hi. This is Brandon Bonanza. Do you suffer from suffering? Do you have things happen to you that you have no idea why they're happening? Do you get bad news? Are you a klutz? Are you dropping things? Are you a klutz? Well, the problem could be you. You ever consider looking in a mirror? Call me, donate to me, and then you could look in a mirror and it'll solve all your problems. You'll say, yes, I am the cause of my problems, and I sent my money. You don't have to send it all. I sent money to Brandon, so now I can feel good about myself and realize I'm the cause of all my problems. All right, and then subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff, right? Check out my website, blah, blah, blah. All right. That's my commercial. So you're the cause of your own suffering, is what he's saying. Not you, listener. These people who violate laws and who criticize. If you're criticizing, if you're complaining, You're utterly deluded, and you are causing your own suffering. Even the wise, 33. Oh, okay. I think I feel a sneeze coming on. Hang on, guys. I feel the sneeze coming on. Even the wise act within the limitations of their own nature. He's talking about limitations of nature. And what does that mean? Let's keep going. Every creature is subject to Prakriti. What is the use of repression? In Prakriti, let's let me see. Let me just look up Prakriti really quick. Prakriti, you're a sweetie. You got a lot of Prakriti. You're a sweetie when you show me your Prakriti. Prakriti is an early Indic concept meaning making or placing before or at first the origin of natural form or condition of anything. Okay, so it's like the Tao, right? It's this life force energy. I probably should have came off and showed you guys my lovely face. This Prakriti is this life force energy. It's like the Tao. And that's what he's talking about in conjunction. I guess I could have just left it up there. Well, you get to see my face. Hi, how's it going? All right. Up. I keep missing the share button. I am so silly. Here we go. Yeah, so every creature is subject to Prakriti. So what he's saying is every creature is subject to nature's force. So we're just running off nature. You can look at us like trees growing in the soil with all our actions, with all the craziness, with all the disgusting things that we do. I'm looking at you, self. I'm looking at you, Brandon. All the Anyway, I'm just kidding. All the things that we do. What if that was part of the plan? What if the murder and the wars, and this is a spiritual level we're talking about. I'm not advocating for any of this, right? What if it was all part of the plan so we can learn our lessons because we're spiritual creatures? So what he's saying is why repress it? Why not just do it till you're done? The senses have been conditioned by attraction to the pleasant and aversion to the unpleasant. He's telling you that you are conditioned, you're trained. You, Arjuna, not person listener, I'm not making claims or judges, but what he's saying is we get conditioned to only try to get what we like. We are conditioned to model our behavior in such a way or display behavior, act out behavior, behave behavior. What would be the word? We have been conditioned to align all our actions with getting what we want. What's going to make us happy, what's going to make us smile and feel good and taste good and oh yeah. And all those bad things like I don't want to go to the dentist and man, I gotta work or whatever it is. I gotta deal with a neighbor or I have to whatever it is. When I say, oh man, I have to, whatever pops in your head, you're you are you Arjuna. Krishna is saying that we have been conditioned, or Arjuna, you have been conditioned to align your actions to avoid all those things. And I know you're gonna be like, well, why wouldn't you want to avoid that? Doesn't that make sense? And I'm not saying that you should go live on a mountain and be a monk and avoid everything and all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. But what I'm saying is internally, at Bikini Bottom, hanging out with SpongeBob and Patrick, just be chill when there's a hurricane up top and things are going crazy. So it's when you're flowing down the river like a leaf on a stream and you encounter the rapids and there's some crazy stuff going on. It's not like, oh no, I just want like nice flowy water. That's all calm all the time. It's about being, whoa, we're gonna these waves and being in the moment. That's what I think they're trying to say. Am I just hammering the same point? You guys get it yet? All right. The senses have been conditioned by attraction to the pleasant and aversion to the unpleasant. Do not be ruled by them. They are obstacles in your path. So this is what he's saying. When you start to act within the limits of nature and you kind of go with the flow and you don't repress, which means you're not trying. Just like Yoda says, there is no try. You just you're just doing your thing. You're not judging yourself. You're unraveling like a knot. This is what happens. You start to realize these things, and you don't have to be conditioned. I mean, you don't have to follow your conditioning. You can break free from this conditioning. You don't have to be ruled by it once you start to see it. And I will go to tell you that just be easy on yourself. Self-love. Don't judge yourself. You don't want to judge others. Don't judge yourself. Just, be chill, man. It is better to strive in one's own dharma. This is very important, let's say here too. It is better to strive in one's own dharma than to succeed in the dharma of another. What's he saying? What is dharma? In plain English, he's saying, just live your life. It's better to fail trying to be your authentic self than to succeed pretending to be somebody that you're not. There it is. Yeah. So just, be you, man. Fail. That's how you learn. Don't be afraid of failure. Now Arjun is like, all right, man, you said a lot. And I have some things to say too, Krishna. Arjuna, what is the force that binds us to selfish deeds, O Krishna? What power moves us even against our will, as if forcing us? And this is what I was talking about earlier. As if forcing us. Sometimes we just feel forced and we just go because we're done. We're just done fighting. We're like, fine, I'll just do it. Right? This is what we're talking about. Could it be? Krishna, oh Krishna, it is selfish desire and anger arising from the guna of the rajas. These are the appetites and evils which threaten a person in this life. So this is the only evil mentioned here. Are your own selfish desires and anger. Haha. Just as a fire is covered by smoke and a mirror is obscured by dust, just as the embryo rests deep within the womb, knowledge is hidden by selfish desire. Hidden, Arjuna, by this unquenchable fire for self-satisfaction, the inveterate enemy of the wise. The inveterate, yeah, the inveterate enemy of the wise. So again, the enemy of the wise is the own internal, unquenchable fire for self-satisfaction. Push me and then just touch me till I can get my satisfaction. It's like it's about that, right? It's like if you're out there chasing your desires, if you're out there trying to hook up with men or women or whatever you're into, or if you're trying to eat all the time, or if you're trying to just always have bliss, you're trying to be drunk all the time, or whatever it is. That's what they're talking about, right? It's this unquenchable desire. It's a fire that you can never put out by trying to satisfy, is what I mean. That's what he's saying, right? All right. So it's a battle against yourself. Haha. That's where he says it, really. All right. Selfish desire is found in the senses, mind, and intellect. This is where he talks about where it is. Oh, I did want to talk about this. So this is a great analogy. So we'll go back up to 38. Just as a fire is covered by smoke and a mirror is obscured by dust. So it really is, it's always there. We're always perfect. We just don't see it. So because we don't see it, we engage in all these crazy actions, and then it's like a cycle, you know? So it's just about waking up from it and being easy on yourself. Easy. Here we go. Selfish desires found in the senses, mind, and intellect, misleading them and bearing the understanding and delusion. Fight with all your strength, Arjuna, controlling your senses. Conquer your enemy, the destroyer of knowledge and realization. So we're kind of getting the idea he's not telling him to go kill all his relatives anymore. He's like, no, the inner stuff. And it might feel like it's a civil war because you're fighting against your former self. You're fighting against the person you used to be, and you're becoming the person you are now. You are in a cocoon like a moth, because butterflies don't go in cocoons. I learned that from a movie. I forgot what it is that they go into. No, I learned that from Bob's Burgers. Thank you. And you're gonna crawl out a beautiful moth and fly around Just don't get too attracted to that light. You know what I'm saying? All right. I mean, that's a great analogy too, right? A moth going to a flame. That's what they're all talking about. The senses are higher than the body, the mind higher than the senses. Above the mind is the intellect, and above the intellect is the Atman. Thus, knowing that which is supreme, let the Atman rule the ego. Use your mighty arms to slay the fierce enemy that is selfish desire. Yes. Tell him, Krishna. I'm his hype man now. I'm like, yo, you guys know about Krishna? I'm putting him in my book. Chapter 4. All right, let's stop here for a second because this might be all we're doing today. Why not? Because that was a good one. We'll keep it short. I got really bombastic toward the end. And you know what happens when you keep them wanting more? They come back for more. Come back for more, everybody. But let's wrap this up in a good way because he's really pumped up. He's like, fight this battle, man. Right? Fight. What are you doing? What are you doing sitting in your basement? Get up and fight. Make podcasts. Get on stage. Uh whatever you use your hands, build a house, whatever it is, go and do it. Just work on yourself. Let go of the past, Arjuna. All those things that happened to you were done by people who were just things were done to them. It's like a cycle, and now that you're awake, you can break it. Fight. You're the one. Did I miss? I feel like I missed a part because I got so excited. Let's see here. Am I still? I'm not still sharing. You guys are seeing my hi. Hi, how you doing? Um, There was something I did want to talk about. Deep within the womb, the understanding fight with all controlling. Oh, I guess that's it. Maybe it was even farther away. No. All right. I guess I did it. Well, I'll just talk about it next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's really inspiring. It's really inspiring. Chapter 3 is one of my favorites. It's great because he's telling them, look at all these other jerks. Don't be one of those jerks. Come on, Arjuna. You're not one of those jerks, right? You get it. He's like, come on, you get it right. All right, good. Because I've been walking around and all these other people, they don't get it, man. And I'm like, you get it right. And they're like, what? What? And then you were like, huh? I think I get it. I'm like, you get it right, Arjuna. You're not a jerk. That's all Krishna is saying. That's all. It's easy. The thing is, it's hard to not be a jerk sometimes. And that's why people are like, I don't get what they're trying to say here. Well, can you explain it to me? You mean to tell me I got to think about others first? Wait a minute. Can you show me this in a different religious context and perspective? I think I want to not be a Hindu. I want to be a Christian, or I want to be a Muslim and that's the important message here at the end we're going to talk about at the Bhagavad Gita Bonanza. Is that the Bhagavad Gita is not the end all be all. I'm not up here worshiping it. I'm not even saying it's the best spiritual text. It itself, in fact, we read, if you go and check the last episode where I covered chapters 1 and 2 of the Bhagavad Gita in the first installment of the Bhagavad Gita Bonanza, I talked about how it says that spiritual texts are just like water in a floodplain to the enlightened man or woman who sees God everywhere. So if you see God everywhere, you don't need the Bhagavad Gita. And the other important thing to keep in mind is that a lot of people are listening to this are in the Western part of the world, whatever that means. But we have a different understanding of things. Well, there's Christianity is prevalent here, but there is a wise treasure trove of esoteric knowledge, hermetic information. We can even look at, like the Viking stuff, Odin and stuff like that. The brain is toward the end of the episode, guys. I'm fading. So I would advise you to keep your open mind looking at that stuff too. You might relate to it better. You might not relate to this stuff. That's why people have a tough time with the Bhagavad Gita. I think I was drawn to it because I just needed something different. It drew me out of what I was into, and it kind of gave me um it inspired me in a time of darkness, I shall say. So it was a light, and it was like the light of a lentil. No, wait, a light of in Lord of the Rings when Galadriel gives Frodo that light. It was like that light, So it could be a light in a dark place when all their lights go out. It could be that for you, but it isn't something to be worshipped, or you shouldn't even argue with people. You shouldn't be like, yeah, the Bhagavad Gita is the best because that's no. If someone's not into it, just be like, what about the Bible? You like the Bible? There's plenty of things in the Bible. What about you like Aleister Crowley? I wouldn't suggest saying that if they're not into this. But I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's just not about putting it on a pedestal. That's all. It's just a book. It's just some words somebody wrote down, you know? All right, everybody, that's the message. It's just a book. It's just some words somebody wrote down. So, you know, don't even stress it if you don't get it. And just don't be a jerk. It's the main message. And check out my website, shadowworked.com. Check out there. You could donate, and I will send you the my first book that I have. I'm planning on rewriting it. I've been saying that, but I really am getting the itch. But I can send you what I have now. And a lot of people liked it, how it is now, but you could just donate for the hell of it too. That's something you can do for the entertainment value. If you're still listening this far in, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'm gonna play my song. I redid it. I hope you guys liked it. Shout out to my lovely wife again because she's like, "You gotta fix it, Brandon." And I'm like, she's like, "You gotta fix it." I'm like, I'm like, "Why are you with me? I'm a monster sometimes," because I'm just like, "No." And then I finally was like, "You're right. I need to fix it." I know that I do. You're right. Anyway, I've been saying all this because I'm trying to get it to work. Here we are. Anyway, all right. Enjoy my theme song on the way out, and I will see you guys next time. You know, make sure you hit that bell because you never know when I'm going to go live with something new. I have a lot of plans on the horizon, so check it out. Take care, guys. Bonanza, Bonanza, we're hanging out. It's the Bhagavad Brandon, Bonanza, Bonanza, we're hanging out. It's the Bhagavad Brandon, Bonanza show. We're hanging out on the Bhagavad Brandon, Bonanza show. Yeah. Yeah. Bye. All right. Tabula rasa.